welcome to Ask Angelika, Season 2, Episode 1, A Visit to Imber, and hello, Angelika.
Hello, Stephen. Hello, everybody else. Yes, we're back.
We're back and we're syndicated on 10 different pages. Thank you to everybody who's sharing this out. We really appreciate it. And the first order of the day is for you to explain why Season 2.
Yes, we've done 40 episodes, I think, in so-called Season 1. And while we took a break over the summer, I was wondering whether there would be something we could change. I quite like the format of you reading the sentences and translating them or trying to translate them. But I thought it would be something different. And in the meantime, you started a new show, not for language learners, but you started the show, I've forgotten what it's called, I Live Here?
It is called I Live Here. It airs on Tuesdays at 2 p.m. Thank you.
There, yeah. Where you talking to somebody else? So you're sitting in your office and you're doing all the important bits behind the screen. And you're talking to somebody who is walking around his place, telling the audience where they live. And I thought that would be a good idea, especially if we then incorporated the German learning as well. The drawback, of course, would be that you'll be in your office and I would have to travel all over Wiltshire for half an hour. And so I thought, no, that's actually not such a good idea. And then I thought we'd do a compromise. So last month, we both went to a place called Imber. I'll talk about that one in a minute, a bit more. And I made a few videos which I put together. And so Season 2, the slightly different format will be that we're showing the viewers who want to learn German a little bit about Wiltshire, because unfortunately the budget doesn't stretch to me traveling all over Germany. Now that would be even better, but maybe next time we're in Germany I will definitely do that. Not yet exactly. So I thought we could show you a little bit about Wiltshire and do a little bit of talking about it, and then still go to the format of you having some sentences and you then trying to translate them. Although the sentences, when we start the video in a minute, the video doesn't have any sound. I will read the German sentences to you already, so everybody can have a listen already of what they're expecting. And especially you can have a quick listen again, so it should be a lot easier for you to read them afterwards.
You say again, but it's actually, I have read, of course I've read the sentences and I've been practicing like mad, so that when we do go for that section of the show, I'm totally ready.
Absolutely.
Right,
Hence,
okay.
Season 2, Episode 1. Otherwise, we're ending up talking about Ask Angelika, episode 3565 one day, or maybe not.
Well, you never know. But we have Season 2. Now, you said you would tell me when to play the video.
I think we can start playing the video now. This was a visit to Imber. And Imber is a little village in Wiltshire, which is actually not open to the public, except on a couple of occasions. And this was an open day, and we had the privilege this time, which we've never done before. We actually went on an old London bus. Surprisingly, although we did notice the suspension, the video isn't too wobbly while I filmed. You could see that, well, I tried to get the impression that we're really far away, and Imber really is in the middle of nowhere. There's a few other buses there to see as well. And Imber is now only used really for the army as a training ground, whereas beforehand it was a proper village. And I think I go to the German sentences, shall I?
Certainly.
Yeah. So this is a little bit of text that you will get help with translating afterwards. Imber gibt es seit 967. Aber 1943 brauchte das britische Militär einen Ort zum Üben. Da Imber gut abgelegen von anderen Orten ist, wurde den 150 Einwohnern eine kleine Abfindung gegeben und sie mussten vorübergehend wegziehen. Sie hatten aber gehofft, dass sie nach dem Krieg wieder zurück durften. Aber das wurde keine Wirklichkeit. Das Dorf wird auch heute noch von der Armee als Übungsplatz benutzt, aber zu Ostern, im August und um Weihnachten kann man es besuchen. Die St. Giles Kirche ist aus dem 13. Jahrhundert. Now that's the text we're looking at in a minute. The church bit in the video should come up in a minute. You can really see everything is blocked off. We weren't allowed to come off the track, were we? So
no, we weren't.
Always had the danger signs and do not cross the line and all the police stop. I don't know, what do you call those those not bandages, is it?
Well, there are unexploded unexploded things, so you're not allowed to step off the road, are you? And there are certain areas you can't actually visit.
Well, there's always a danger of unexploded things there, exactly. But the church, they still have services about at least twice a year, possibly 3 times a year, I think. And if there isn't a service and it's an open day, people can come in there and have a coffee and look at some pictures and some more information about the village, which is what we did. You can also buy a little bit of a text about the story of the church. This is only about the church. And if you can see, we sort of zoomed in. There is a German version of it as well, been translated by yours truly. But we tried to see whether they've got my name on there, but it's not. But so if you ever do go to Imber, you can find out about the history of the church in English, in German, and somebody translated it into French as well. What have we got left time-wise? Not too much now, is it? I think this used to be a high court or something like this.
True. I mean, it's sad that it was a vibrant village, farming community, and it was taken over in 1943, and everybody was told to leave. You can come back soon, and they never were able to return. They do retain the right, though, as former residents of Imber, to actually be buried in the churchyard that we've just seen.
Yeah, the one earlier on. This is a churchyard from the Baptist church. The church doesn't exist anymore, and the churchyard has been heavily overgrown. You could barely see the graves.
That's true. And the last time we went, it was, well, you could actually walk around.
We walked around, didn't we? Yes.
Yeah.
And there we were on our way back in a more modern London bus.
Oh, yes.
Made the journey a bit more smoothly, didn't it?
Well, it did. It coped better on the hills, especially going uphill. I mean, the older coaches are wonderful, but they do have a problem with larger hills. And we're coming towards the end of the video. Just let me check. And yes, we're just nearing the end of our journey to Imber. So it's now back to myself and Angelika, and this is part two of episode 1.
Teil 2, please. We're not doing French.
Okay. Ask Angelika, season 2, episode 1. with Angelika, Davey and Stephen Healy. Now, the main part of the show is that Angelika has put together a series of German sentences with their translations, and my task is to actually try and give my interpretation and to actually read out the German sentences and then do a translation. And because, let's make a start. So phrase number 1 is Imber, es seit 1967, aber im 1943 brauchte das britische Militär einen Ort zum Üben. Right. Okay. How's the pronunciation for a start?
Not bad.
Well, do you want to read it out and then?
Imber gibt es seit 967, aber 1943 brauchte das britische Militär einen Ort zum Üben.
Right.
So that was pretty good, yeah.
Yeah, good, thank you. So, Imber gibt es seit 967. Imber was started in the year 967, but in 1943, the British military einen Ort zum Üben. I'm struggling with that.
Ort is a place. Ort could mean town, village, but it could also just mean a place. So it's pretty open-ended, really, what it exactly does mean. And Üben is what you do when you do your German homework.
Oh yes, I practice.
Exactly.
Right. So translation is Imber has existed since 967, but in 1943 the British military needed a place to practice. So einen Ort zum Üben.
Yeah.
Place to practice. Okay, phrase number 2. And these are taken, where's these phrases taken from your translation of the leaflet in the church?
No, they haven't, because I looked at the leaflet from the church, and that was purely only about the church rather than the village, and it was very difficult to take sort of a couple of sentences out of there.
Right. Okay.
These sentences were actually taken from my German book about the A to Z of Wiltshire,
which is available on Amazon. Now, phrase 2. Da Imber gut abgelegen von anderen Orten ist.
Yeah, so, this is a part of a sentence. This was I wrote a nice German sentence, make it nice and long. And as I know that the phrases here, which by the way, I can't see. Are you showing them?
I am showing the phrase on the screen now.
I've still got Ask Angelika season 2, episode 1.
Just a minute. Let's take a break for a moment. Just let me go and check. And see that it's actually working. I may have broken it, so let's just take a breather for a second while I go.
We just do it without. As long as you can read them, that's the main. Turn it into a listening.
It's a lot better if they actually show on the screen. I'm just waiting for for Facebook to catch up. This is live video. Anything can happen. All right. Okay. Just a minute.
Or am I the only one who can't see it, and everybody else can?
I'm waiting for it to catch up, and because it's nice if they actually do show on the screen. Hang on. All right. Okay. Let me stop that. Okay. The sentence is not showing on the screen.
Right.
So I'm going to try and fiddle about a bit, and right, we can do what we did last time when it didn't show. We'll just edit the video.
It's going to be a listening exercise then.
It is going to be a listening exercise. This is live video. You are watching Ask Angelika season 2 episode 1, and that might not show on the screen, or it might. And I'm translating phrases. So the phrase we got to, da Imber gut abgelegen von anderen Orten ist.
Yeah. So da Imber gut abgelegen von anderen Orten ist, that's the first part.
Okay, so Ort we discovered was a place. So anderen is other. So other places is other places. Imber abgelegen. What does abgelegen mean?
That's sort of far away.
Right. Okay. So the translation is As Imber is far away from other places.
Yeah. So then comes the second part of the sentence.
And I'm going to read it out. And it's wurde den 150 Einwohnern eine kleine Abfindung gegeben.
Yeah.
Okay. So 150 Einwohner, so villagers, inhabitants.
Yeah.
A small gegeben is given. We're given a small Abfindung. Was bedeutet?
Compensation.
Right.
Yeah. Here's a little bit of money. Now go and find yourself somewhere to rent until you can come back into the village. That was the idea.
Right. So 150 villagers inhabitants were given a small compensation.
Yeah.
And phrase 4. Und sie mussten vorübergehend wegziehen.
Ja, und sie mussten vorübergehend wegziehen.
Right, weg is away, and ziehen is move away. They must was bedeutet?
Vorübergehend is temporarily, and I actually put that in inverted commas because my guess is that the army probably knew that they weren't going to let them back in anyway, but they had to temporarily move away. That's certainly what they were being told.
Okay.
They were giving a little bit of money and they were told to move into rented accommodation in Salisbury or anywhere else, Amesbury, I can't remember where they all moved to. And they moved under the understanding that after the war they could come back.
Okay. Right. I'm just going to refresh. Just give me a second. Don't go anywhere.
Oh, now it's just me. And
I'm
coming back.
I'm back, and hopefully this time, I'm back. I didn't go far. So we're on. The 150 inhabitants were given a small compensation.
Yeah, and they had to temporarily move away.
They had to temporarily move away. Okay, phrase 5. Sie hatten alle gehofft, dass sie nach dem Krieg wieder zurück durften. How's the pronunciation?
Ja, sie hatten alle gehofft, dass sie nach dem Krieg wieder zurück durften. Again, that's the first part. There is a slight little bit after the comma in a minute.
Right. I'm going to break this into parts. Nach dem Krieg is after the war.
Yeah.
Wieder is again. And zurück is back. So return home. Gehoffen is to hope. They had hoped to return home after the war.
Yeah.
And they had all hoped to be allowed to return after the war.
Sie hatten alle gehofft. Yeah, they had all hoped to be allowed back after the war.
And phrase 6. Aber das wurde keine Wirklichkeit. Pronunciation?
Ja, aber das wurde keine Wirklichkeit.
Good. But Wirklichkeit, I don't get that one.
Reality.
Right. But this did not become a reality. Phrase 7. Das Dorf wird auch heute noch von der Armee als Übungsplatz benutzt.
Ja, das Dorf wird auch heute noch von der Armee als Übungsplatz benutzt.
Right, okay. Das Dorf is a village.
Ja.
It's still today von der Army, by the army.
Mhm.
Used by the army.
Ja.
Übungsplatz. Was ist das?
We had Üben earlier on, which was practice,
Yeah.
and Platz is a place.
Yeah.
But as it's the army here, I think training ground is probably a better translation.
Okay.
But it's a practice ground or practice place, training ground.
Gotcha.
Hence all the signs on the video, you know, danger, do not go past these signs.
Indeed. Das Dorf wird auch heute noch von der Armee als Übungsplatz benutzt, which means the village is still used by the army as a training ground.
Mhm.
And phrase 8.
That's the second part.
Sorry?
Yeah. That's the second part of the sentence, yeah.
Okay. Aber zu Osten im August und Weihnachten kann man es besuchen.
Yeah.
How's the pronunciation?
Aber zu Ostern
Ja.
im August und Weihnachten kann man es besuchen.
Right. Aber, but.
Mhm.
Zu Ostern is at Easter. Im
Yeah.
August is in August. Weihnachten is Christmas. And one can, besuchen or besuchen is visit. So one can visit at Easter, in August, and at Christmas.
Yeah, and that's why we were there last month, because they had,
Indeed,
I think it was a whole week. Last month, it was a whole week when they were open.
Yeah.
Whereas Easter, I think, is just Good Friday to Easter Sunday, if I remember correctly. And Christmas, I can't remember.
And there were bus services running every day, were there?
No, the bus service. The bus service only went on that one day. That's a separate organization who they're doing this for charity, and it only goes in August.
Right.
So normally you need to drive there yourself or walk.
Okay. Phrase 9, which is our last phrase today.
Keep that as English. St. Giles. That's the name of the. That's a name, so that stays in English.
All right. Die St. Giles Kirche ist aus dem. We talked about this while looking at the leaflet. 13. Jahrhundert.
Okay. Almost. It's aus die St. Giles Kirche ist aus dem 13. Jahrhundert.
All right. That's why there's the full stop after 13.
Exactly. Yes. In English, it would have had. Well, we'll find out in a minute what the English has.
I nearly remembered it. Okay. Translating, the St. Giles Church is from the 1300s. And that is that. Well, how was my pronunciation okay, apart from the full stop?
Yeah. And
okay.
it's from the 13th century.
Right, from the 13th century. Right, okay. So, would you like to read the sentences out from the beginning? And if you read them in German, I'll read the translation, and we'll go through it that way. Okay?
Okay. Shall we do the whole sentences this time, or still in snippets?
Do the whole thing if you want.
Yeah. So the first sentence was, Imber gibt es seit 967, aber 1943 brauchte das britische Militär einen Ort zum Üben.
Imber has existed since 1967, but in 1943 the British military needed a place to practice.
Da Imber gut abgelegen von anderen Orten ist, wurde den 150 Einwohnern eine kleine Abfindung gegeben und sie mussten vorübergehend wegziehen.
And that translates as As Imber is far away from other places. No?
That's it.
The 150 inhabitants were given a small compensation and they had to temporarily move away.
Sie hatten alle gehofft, dass sie nach dem Krieg wieder zurück durften. Aber das wurde keine Wirklichkeit.
This is more difficult than I thought it would be.
See, that's what I've got mine on screen here in front of me.
They had all hoped to be allowed back after the war, but this did not become a reality.
That's it, yeah, no, my turn.
Okay, it is your turn, yeah.
Das Dorf wird auch heute noch von der Armee als Übungsplatz benutzt, aber zu Ostern, im August und um Weihnachten kann man es besuchen.
And in English, I've got the translation. The village is still used by the army as a training ground, but you can visit at Easter, in August and around Christmas. And final phrase?
Die St. Giles Kirche ist aus dem 13. Jahrhundert.
13. Yeah, I've got that. The St. Giles Church is from the 13th century.
That's it.
Okay, right.
So we've combined two things. We've hopefully have taught our viewers a little bit of German and at the same time shown them a little bit about the wonderful Wiltshire where we live, or at least one part, and hopefully lots more to come.
Indeed. And we should we close with the film again?
How have we fixed timeline? Yes, we can.
Yeah, okay. And I'm just waiting for the film to come up because we can bring that to the broadcast and bring it full screen. So we're not on screen. And I'm just going to press play, but we can carry on talking. Right, so we were lucky enough to visit in August, weren't we? And we, for the first time ever, we actually went on the bus.
Yes, we normally missed it because they only do this one day, and that is the one of the days in August when they had various different buses which just ferried the people up there, which was brilliant to watch.
It is, and there are more and more people actually visiting. I mean, this time, in addition to people who normally visit, there were a lot of bus enthusiasts there, weren't there?
Yes.
I seem to remember, yeah.
Yes, the village was a bit heaving, really, wasn't it? Not in comparison to normally.
That's true.
And we had nice weather, which helped.
It did. It was a beautiful day. Right. So fond memories of our trip to Imber, and Angelika, well, let's say thank you to everybody, and we'll take our leave for today. We're back in, well, Sarah will be back as well.
In 2 weeks' time, and I don't know what the date is. I don't even
21st.
know what today's date is.
Okay,
right.
We're back on the 21st September.
We're back on the 21st of September, where I'm hoping, if you like this format, to show you a little bit about Devizes Carnival. Because Devizes Carnival sort of spreads over nearly 2 weeks with different things. And I'm sure we can find some German sentences to go with that. And in the meantime, it's Tschüss von mir.
Und Tschüss von mir. Bis später. Auf Wiedersehen. And that's